Redfin is receiving thousands of calls about sales and rentals in California, everyone looking for a place to stay. They're also getting emerging reports about price gouging. For more, we're joined by Redfin CEO Glenn Kelman and our own Diana Olick. Welcome to both of you. Diana, kick things off.
Thanks, Kelly, and thanks to you, Glenn, for joining us. I know Redfin is based in Seattle, but you have a huge presence in the Los Angeles area. How many agents and how many offices do you have there?
500 agents and 5 offices.
And what are you hearing from those agents, since I've seen that there are reports of them getting thousands of calls on a single property listed over the weekend? What are they telling you?
People are desperate for housing right now, especially rental housing. Redfin agents, like many agents in the area, are now representing people on rentals pro bono. There's really no money in that business, but it's obviously what we need to do to rebuild our community. Many people who listed their homes have withdrawn the listing and instead decided to rent it out, and they're trying to get top dollar for it. So this was already an inventory constrained market, and it's just gotten much, much worse.
And what about price gouging? We're hearing on the rental side, of course. I mean, some homeowners who wanted to sell are raising their list prices. Those, as you say, that are taking them off the market to take advantage of rentals. Are you seeing those rent prices just soar?
Well, we haven't aggregated any quantitative data on it yet, but anecdotally you hear about people suddenly asking for double the amount of rent. This is in an area where the median income would have to be used for 80% of the rent. So people already were having a hard time making their nut. And it's just going to get much harder now because so many people are displaced.
Glenn, it's Kelly here. Can you give us a sense of how many properties are even available to be rented, or I don't know if it's Airbnb? I mean, how much inventory is there for all the people who are displaced right now to stay in something roughly approximating the area?
Well, there were 17,000 units heading into the fire. I think many people are now opening up their homes, trying to rent them out as Airbnbs. So it's a really volatile situation where we don't know just how many beds are going to be made available over the next month. We have seen communities like this in Tampa Bay and Hawaii recover more quickly than people realize, but it still is going to take a long time to rebuild all these homes, 2 or 3 years at the least. And LA is going to look completely different when we're done, just because it's been rezoned for much higher density than we had in places like Pacific Palisades or Malibu before.
And Glenn, looking just about 6 months into the future, we already know that LA is one of the highest priced markets in the country. The median price around $900,000, even higher in the Pacific Palisades. For existing homes right now in the LA area that were not part of the fire, do you expect to see home prices soar over the next 6 months? And by how much do you think that gain is going to be?
It's really hard to say because the fires haven't even stopped burning. So we don't know how many people are going to leave the area. We don't know how many homes are going to burn. We have seen just over the past week that more people want to list their home than buy a home. So I think Southern Californians are having second thoughts about living in fire-prone areas. But the other factor that you just have to think about in affordability, we used to think only about home prices and mortgage rates, but now we also have to consider home insurance rates. That is the third factor that no one really had to worry about. But in some cases, especially in the riskiest areas, insurance rates are doubling, tripling, quadrupling. And I think you had 13% of California agents last year say that a deal didn't come through because the customer couldn't afford the insurance.
And so that would lower the value of the home, because when you put that insurance rate, that additional rate that would be for a home buyer, that's going to lower the value. But how does the value of the home get affected by the fact that perhaps there are not services around, that it's going to take a year or two for the entire neighborhood to rebuild? Does that lower the value of homes that are still standing as well?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many puts and takes here. It's really hard to say. On one hand, you're just going to have less inventory. And on the other hand, you're going to have homes that are the only homes standing on a block. And I don't know how many people really want to live in an area like that. But my guess is that the demise of Southern California has been predicted many times. It is one of the most beautiful, amazing, resilient places. People are always going to want to live there. So I think prices are probably just going to keep going up.